Before we dive into the blood-soaked madness of this 88 film slasher classic collection review, a quick heads up for listeners and viewers alike. These episodes come straight from the podcast Under the Stairs archives, recorded before the launch of the YouTube channel and long before video podcasts became part of the show. These reviews were originally crafted purely for audio. So if the production feels a little rougher around the edges or a little more stripped back than current episodes, that's because you're hearing the show in its earlier form, raw, passionate, and let's be honest, a little waffly at times. Whether you're revisiting these reviews or discovering them for the first time, please sit back and relax and enjoy this trip through the golden age of mass killers, inventive gore, and VH era nightmares. This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. Hi everyone and welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. This is your Sunday 88 Films Slasher Classic series of reviews. I'm your host Duncan. Welcome to the show. Up on this episode we're looking at the final Slasher Classic of 2019. We've ran this son of a bitch a whole year. It feels good to have done it. I say it feels good to have done it. It feels in a lot of ways like I have been in the trenches and just beaten around the head with fucking shrapnel and enemy fire. This one has really taken it out of me this year, honestly. It's not the reason my voice sounds so haggard. I had a Christmas party on Friday, and the voice was kind of half holding it together yesterday, but has completely gone this morning, so you're getting husky sexy Duncan on this recording. This is the final review of this particular year. Looking at this Slasher Classic series. We will be back in earnest to continue the series in 2020, but I'm kind of glad I'm getting a couple of weeks away from it. We are doing disc number, wait for it, 21 in the series, which is a movie called Prozzie, as in short slang for prostitute. That's right. There's a lot of things I have to say about this movie. We're going to get to, and I have a couple of bolder statements that I need to get out the way as pertains to this line in general, because I honestly, I'm sure there are fans out there and I'm sure they're really happy, but this is a collection that doesn't do justice to their label at all, but we'll get into that. Hold your peace, Duncan, hold your peace. This is the final episode of the week. We have had a pretty great week actually. We kicked it off with The Burbs way back on Monday. On Thursday you got a little mixtape volume 3 action. Yesterday we put out the next instalment of our Russian Roulette franchise retro looking at Tremors, being Tremors 3 and 4. And the final instalment of that comes up next week. This obviously your last episode for this week. Moving ahead, on Monday you will get the Dream double bill pick from the listeners as part of Listener Choice December. You're getting 28 days and 28 weeks later, so that'll be dropping on Monday. Next week you will also have the final instalment of our Tremors Retro. You will have Movie Club, that's right, Movie Club coming in a little bit earlier, so you have until Wednesday to get your reviews in. You'll have a bonus episode reviewing the brand new Blumhouse outing Black Christmas 2019. We'll be doing that as well. I also think I'm supposed to be dropping the roundtable next week, and I'm doing a shitload of recordings, so there's so much stuff happening under the stairs as we gear towards our annual 2-week hiatus, which I'm very much looking forward to. The podcast Under the Stairs finishing up, officially closing its doors for 2019 on Christmas Eve when we drop our Christmas Eve commentary. Right, now that you're all caught up, let's take a break You're going to hear promos for shows that I love. You are going to hear the trailer for disc number 21 in the Slasher Classic Collection. This one is from 1981, the year of my birth, which was a great year until I saw this movie. We're going to be talking about Umi Lomel's Prozzie right after this.
Want to learn more about horror directors? With a lighthearted look at 3 of their movies? Meet fearless podcaster Gore Blimey.
I've been unsettled by bats in the past and startled by parrots, and I've even been known to jump at the odd cockatoo.
Discover horror films that are classics, and others, too.
There's a topless aerobics massacre, an exploding rock singer, cannibals, nude martial arts, a deep-fried prostitute...
But it's not all silliness. You'll get proper movie breakdowns, opinion, and background information, too.
Yep, in the 80s and 90s, Jeff Stryker was huge in gay porn. In every sense.
So if you're a horror film fan, come and check out the Trilogy of Terror podcast at strangeanddeadly.com, or find it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or on your podcatcher.
One of those people that has a certain charisma and a certain style, and I'm just hoping one day he'll rub off on me.
The Trilogy of Terror podcast, where we try 3 times harder to give you the willies.
And welcome back, ladies and gents. This is disc number 21 in the Slasher Classic Collection. Here we go. The 88 Films website says, after the success of The Boogeyman from 1980, a slasher classic that carved its way to box office riches and video nasty notoriety, director Umi Lomel was all too happy to reunite with starlet Susanna Love for another bout of bloodthirsty brutality, and the result is 1983's Prozzie, also known as Olivia and Double Jeopardy. Regardless of the moniker, the superb slice and dice sickie is one of the most underrated knife play pot boilers ever imagined, with Love portraying a femme fatale that has a damaged background and a wonderfully skillful way with sharp utensils. Let's put it this way, you may well want her to undress, but the chances are that it is her who will be doing the penetrating. Whilst Boogeyman might be Lomel's most famous freak show, Prozzie is his most outrageous orgy of sex and violence, and only 88 Films, the label that seeks out forgotten splatterfix and restores them in awesome HD, could have understood the need for a new generation to see Crimson Cake Gem in all of its high-def delirium. See Prozzie and admire a timeless mix of curves and carnage. The special editions on this one are a remastered 2K transfer from the original film materials, original mono soundtrack, an interview with the director Umi Lomel, interview with cinematographer Dave Sperling, a trailer reel, and the reversible sleeve with alternate artwork. The technical specs on the disc are that this is region unlocked, so you can buy this one and watch it wherever you are. The picture format is 185.1, the audio format is LPCM 2.0, the language is of course English, certification 18, and the runtime is about an hour and 20 minutes when you chop off those credits either side. Now, I have slowly come to be in a position that I can admit a kind of weird, perverse, sick enjoyment in watching a movie like The Boogeyman. I don't think it's a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. I think the sequel is ludicrous in a way where only a movie like that can take 30 minutes of a previous movie and just put it in there and pretend that it never happened. But whilst I may have the kind of weird reverence for a movie like Boogeyman, specifically because it was on that Video Nasties list, in my history with that Video Nasties list, I had never heard of Prozzie before, or Double Jeopardy, whichever we're calling it here. Never heard of it before, and I will be honest with you, not a fan. Not a fan of this one at all. Sitting down and experiencing movies from the 88 Films slasher classic line is, it's getting to the stage now where I'm sure this line is aimed at someone, it just isn't aimed at me. The 88 Films slasher classic is a line of movies designed to make me hate cinema, and there's no way around that. I don't understand. And the thing is, I've got some of the ones beyond this point, and they are movies I'm really interested to check out, or movies I've seen before and I like. But I see a movie like this, and I understand you're bringing it to a generation of people that haven't seen it, or you're maybe raising the profile of of a director that maybe needs a critical eye. I mean, Lamel generally is known for The Boogeyman, and the return of The Boogeyman, specifically because of, and we spoke about it before, the video nasties. It gave notoriety to a bunch of films that maybe didn't deserve it, or maybe didn't need it, because they became part of an infamous list of movies that, the government didn't want you to see in the UK. So, and having gone through that list, there's only a handful of movies in there that I would say are genuine classics, and the rest are kind of middling to absolutely awful. And The Boogeyman isn't one of those ones that's on the absolutely awful list by any stretch of the imagination. But Prozzie is a movie which is so poorly shot, so poorly constructed. The acting is pretty rank across the board. Has a grimy feel in the cinematography, which just makes me feel that the budget isn't there. And if the budget isn't there, no one's being creative to try and make it look like a budget's there. And it's an hour and 20 minutes of repetitive nonsense that, I mean, the first kill when it happens is kind of interesting. I'm not talking about the kill that sets up the killer. I'm talking about the first kill of this wounded kind of daughter who sees her mother, a prostitute, die at the hands of a rather fucking vicious John. And then she kind of becomes like a weapon for vengeance by basically acting out the way her mother acted out, but with this "I will kill them." Weirdly enough, it's kind of that Eileen Wuornos thing, where she would claim that every John that she slept with was about to do her harm, so she killed him in self-defense. In the case of this one, it's more lining towards she's a murderer. And I'm not entirely sure if the movie wants to make me sympathetic to her, or if the movie's like, well, don't be sympathetic to her, she's a vicious killer. And if that's the case, I don't understand the point of the movie. And it is repetitive. It's mind-numbingly repetitive for a movie that's an hour and 20 minutes long. It is literally, she seduces a guy, brings him home, kills him. She seduces a guy, brings him home, kills him. She seduces a guy, brings him home, kills him. And yet, we might be sitting there going, well, yeah, it's a slasher movie, we want those deaths. The deaths are fairly unimaginative, even by 81 standards. I know this is saying 83, the reading I did was this movie was made in 81, maybe it took to 83 to come out, but 81's what I'm seeing online for it. And by then we're already kind of ball deep in the Savini world for things like The Burning, or, the Friday the 13th movies, so there are good effects out there, they're just not being utilised here. There's some ludicrous deaths as well, one using a toothbrush. I mean, what the fuck are we doing? And the crimson caked stuff that's all in that 88 Films blurb, which is designed to sell these movies to people that don't know better, is not true. There's actually a surprisingly little amount of blood in this movie. There's actually a surprisingly little amount of out-and-out slasher violence in this movie. And when you're stripping those aspects out, what you're leaving me with as a viewer is, how is the acting? Acting isn't great. How is the cinematography? Cinematography's kind of honking. That's what you're kind of bringing out, and then the story becomes overtly repetitive. It's shot on location in London, I think, although I saw signs for London Bridge, so I'm assuming it's shot on location in London. And, I mean, London's, it's not the prettiest city in the world, it's by no stretch of the imagination the ugliest city in the world. This movie manages to make it look incredibly ugly. And, I mean, the only saving grace, I liked the score. I thought the soundtrack was kind of cool, kind of sinister, weird and trippy in parts, but out with that, I really didn't like this movie. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I kind of felt like it's a one-trick pony idea which we are trying to make into a longer movie. It's kind of like a rape revenge movie without the rape. It's like a murder revenge movie, if there is such a thing, a generational murder revenge movie, but isn't wielded in such a way. Susanna Love, and God bless her cotton socks here, is trying to play the damaged, scarred daughter. And she's just not very good at it. The kind of, oh, mummy, don't make me kill the bad man. This sort of stuff that's happening in the background is just cheesy and awful. And as a result, there's nothing in this movie to hang your hat on at all. It becomes an exercise in repetitive tedium, and I don't understand I don't understand the push for it. I was wondering why I'd never heard of this movie before, and I now know why I've never heard of this movie before. And the slasher classics line, this is definitely a slasher movie, so at least they got that right. But I feel that maybe sometimes they say yes to putting out movies without necessarily thinking, should they be putting out certain movies against a certain line? Because I think the role we've been on with these slasher classics, quote unquote, have denigrated the reputation of the line into such a respect that I'm just expecting bad all the time. Every movie I sit down and watch now, I'm like that, oh well, this is going to suck. And occasionally there's a diamond in the dung, but most of the time there isn't. Most of the time it's exactly what it looks like. If it smells like, feels like, and looks like shit, chances are it's in the slasher classic line. It really is that bad. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be this guy. What I want to do is be as excited about this line as I am with the Italian classics line. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, Duncan. You're biased. You're biased because you already love Italian cinema. I didn't always love Italian cinema, ladies and gentlemen. What I got was an education in Italian cinema by finding movies that people said check out. That's important. In the horror world, we live not only through the hands of discovery through our own means, but the hands of discovery through word of mouth. That is very important. And if you had a friend that kept directing you to terrible movies, when he recommended another movie to you, would you watch it? And that's the slasher classic line. It's a line of movies which keeps promising you the next one's going to be this great movie, and it never delivers. Where the Italian collection line, even on his worst day, even on some of those movies which I'm like Amazonia recently, which I was like, this is not a good movie, there's still one or two things in there that I can hang my hat on. When I look at this movie, I can't hang my hat on anything. It's just a vast disappointment in a sea of movies which have been a vast disappointment. That's all I have to say about Prozzie. Avoid this one. Skip it. Don't watch it. It's not worth your time. And I kind of hate myself that we're finishing on this dour note on the back of this collection. A collection at 21 movies in have given me maybe 5 movies that I've enjoyed. Do the math. It's a pretty fucking bad ratio of hit and success over shit. In terms of the grade for this one, it's a 2. Didn't like it. Did not like this movie. Will never watch again. I can see myself somewhere down the line getting to a point that when I'm finished with this series, I might just sell off my entire collection and free up some room for things that I actually want to keep. That's how I see things going. And trust me, no one... If you're me, you know I don't want to be miserable. I enjoy being happy and talking about movies. I don't enjoy talking shit about movies. It's like it's the worst thing to do, and this series just keeps making me do it. Right, so we're going to take our final break. When I come back, I'm closing out the show and I'm doing it right after this. You've been listening to the podcast Under the Stairs. Ladies and gents, this is the final, it has been the final 88 Film Slasher Classic Collection review of 2019. We did this number 21, Prozzie, which means we're going to take a couple of weeks off. In the second full weekend of January, we will return to do disc number 22. And if the movie I've just done kind of made me feel a bit shitty, kind of made me feel a bit crappy, made me question what I was doing, the next one is not. This is a movie that I grew up watching and I'm very much looking forward to watching it, although I am going to swing back into this. Is this a slasher? Question mark. The 90s are a weird time. We start bringing in a lot of satanic possession and imagery and voodoo and shit like that into the 90s, so the lines start to get a bit blurred. But trust me, no one is happier than I to be saying that the first movie we'll be doing in this line in 2020 is the first Power starring fucking Lou Diamond Phillips. The 88 Films website says Detective Logan, played by Lou Diamond Phillips of Young Guns, believes he has saved LA from the satanic serial killer played by Jeff Kober, called Patrick Channing, whom the media have dubbed the Pentagram Killer. Unfortunately for Logan, Channing has made a pact with the devil and has gained the first power, immortality. Now tasked with stopping a dead man who can take the image of anyone at any time, Logan buddies up with a beautiful psychic played by Tracy Griffith of Sleepaway Camp 3, her character called Tess, to prevent Channing from carving up more innocent civilians and claiming his revenge on Logan. Featuring spectacular stunt work FX from legendary Ed French of Terminator 2, and a pounding score from Stuart Copeland, who did Wall Street. This lacerating action-horror hybrid is a sure delight to any fan of supernatural slashers, which finally makes its way back to the UK shelves in pristine HD thanks to 88 Films. I am loving this. The special edition contents is Slasher Collection number 22. I can't count that as a... That's what it is. That's not a special feature. Bad 88 Films. High definition trailer. You know there's nothing on this if that's what they're doing. The original stereo soundtrack, original trailer reel, and a reversible sleeve with alternate artwork. This is region locked to region B. Picture format is 185.1. Audio format is DTS HD ME 2.0. The language is English. Certification 18, and the runtime is about 1 hour and 40 minutes. So the first power will be our first movie review of 2020 for the Slasher Classics line. There's a multitude of ways to check out podcasts under the stairs. As always, as you come across and check us out on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the feed, leave us a rating and a review. It's the best way to support us on that platform. You can also check us out on Stitcher Smart Radio, SoundCloud, Google Play, TuneIn, and of course Spotify. You can visit our website by going to teapotscast.com. You can also buy merch like posters and pins from teapotscast.bigcartel.com. Visit us on Facebook if you want to join the group page, interact with other listeners who listen to the show, and of course, love horror. You can do it by going to facebook.com/groups/teapotscast. Alternatively, if you only want to know when the shows are dropping, occasionally check out a live stream like a Thursday, you can do it by going to facebook.com/teapotscast. You can interact with myself and the Baz on the twin prongs of social media sexiness, Instagram and Twitter. You can follow both of those on @TeapotsCast. And finally, check us out on the Flick Chat app. It's available free through Android and iOS. Our join code is TeapotsCast. It's social media for podcasters and listeners. Not only can you listen to the shows directly through it, but then you can engage in a series of message board posts for all the subsets that we do and just general horror conversation. The 88 Films Slasher Classic line has its own message board there. So if this is a series that is the only series you do for Podcasts Under the Stairs, interact with us over there. Flick Chat, join code is TeapotsCast, not @TeapotsCast. TeapotsCast. Always get confused with that. Everything else that says TeapotsCast. Get yourself fixed, Flick Chat. Give us an @ Right, the Podcast Under the Stairs will return for you listeners tomorrow with your dream double bill. It's 28 days and 28 weeks later, coming from the Podcast Under the Stairs Listener Choice December, halfway into its thing. But until then, wherever you are, whatever the time zone is and whatever you're up to in this big bad world of ours, please take care of yourselves out there. This is Duncan McLeish broadcasting live from Under the Stairs, and I am signing off.